Welcome to the trade review. This is going to be the very first episode where we break down a single trade and go through the thought processes behind it, the overall process in the trade, and some overall player takes or kind of thoughts around the people involved as well. So today we have a trade from you, actually, with Mac Jones and Trey Lance. Talk about it.
All right, so this is one of my leagues. It's a 12-team lineup league. Start 10. Format really doesn't matter here as you're within the same position, just swapping two quarterbacks straight up. We saw the Trey Lance. I'm trying to get off of all my Trey Lance. That's basically where this trade starts at. We saw the quote come out today as we're recording this while Schefter was on the Pat McAfee show saying there was no trade market for Trey Lance and the 49ers didn't have any trade talks with teams. Brock Purdy, if he's healthy, is the number one. And my guess going into camp is that Sam Darnold has the edge to be the number two. And that is the number two behind Brock Purdy, not the number two behind Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold being the number two.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's the big thing with Trey Lance here. So you get off of Trey Lance for Mac Jones. We've seen what we can probably anticipate to being the worst of Mac Jones at this point, having a defensive coordinator as his offensive coordinator last year. Can't possibly be any worse. So I think it's worth a shot on a Mac Jones, another young guy that has some questions. But yeah, Trey Lance to me, I want nothing to do with him. I am so happy I traded him this offseason everywhere I had him. This is your last Trey Lance year. I know you were a big Trey Lance guy coming into the season.
I did find out I had one more left because I picked up another one this offseason accidentally in pipeline. So we've still got one out there, but I don't think I'm trading that one. That's just going to have to be a hold it and let it eat on the roster. But this is what we're doing with Trey Lance at this point, right? Like if I'm in the camp that I've gone from taking him as a first or second round startup pick in leagues that were starting up this time last year. But now we're here. We've got Brock Purdy who's taken over the role from him. We've got reports saying that Sam Darnold is the number two behind him. And really, it comes down to the fact that I don't think he's going to be traded because they don't have any legitimate reason to trade him. Their quarterback cap hit is still not significant enough that they can't just keep all three of these guys. And while they might be holding Trey Lance hostage, it doesn't matter for them as an NFL franchise and organization if they can't get significant capital back for him. So this was really just one where I went through, spammed out Trey Lance to all of the managers in my league that had a quarterback that I thought that I would straight up swap for him. This was the first one that got accepted, was for Mac Jones. I also sent it out for Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, and Mac Jones. And by the time that I got past that one, the Mac Jones owner had already accepted, and this deal was done.
I love to hear like the thought process behind it, because I think that's the big thing here. Is it was the move to get off of Trey Lance. You identified a tier of quarterbacks. I know this is probably like the lower end of the tier that you wanted, but at the same time, he was in that group, and you were willing to spam that one out. So, yeah, I don't mind this at all. I get the thought process behind it. I know some people are still just all in on Trey Lance because of the upside, right? Like if things work out, if he goes somewhere else, if he does, lots of ifs involved with Trey Lance. And at this point in his career, it doesn't sound like he's going to be getting another chance in San Francisco. So, and if there has been no trade market for him, I don't know where or when he will get another opportunity. So I'm happy to get out for what I can, because I think if there's a buy window, or if there's another shot for Trey Lance to make it in the league, there will be that buy window. So I'm good with this.
The biggest indictment for me was no other teams even picked up the phone to call, because everybody knew that he should at least be on the block. And you've got two guys that had significant ties to the San Francisco 49ers offense last year, to the organization last year, that could have been in need of a quarterback. And that's the Houston Texans with DeMeco Ryans, who is the DC over there, who's now the head coach for the Texans. He could have picked up the phone and called and said, hey, I really liked what I saw from Trey Lance. He didn't do it. And then you have Ron Carthon over at the GM role in Tennessee. He didn't pick up the phone either, and they had to take Will Levis at the top of the second round. Neither of them wanted to do it. I don't see why I should want to hold Trey Lance on my teams either.
Yeah, and I think that this is kind of the idea going around right now. I know I've been selling. You kind of have sold. I know Jay Peters from Heisman and Destination Devi, he actually sold Trey Lance, I want to say this past week, for, I want to say it was a 25 first. Yep. So this is the time. I mean, if you can get a first, or if you can get yourself a reroll at quarterback, Mac Jones, like just take your shot. Maybe Kenny Pickett, just throw them out to all of the quarterbacks in that range and see if we can, you can get a deal done to move off of Trey Lance, because there will be a window where you can get him back for less than a first. No doubt about it.
Definitely believe so. So go out there, send out your Trey Lance deals.
Yep. Love to hear it. Have a great time. Make sure you like, subscribe, send us those trades that you're out there making, and we'll see you next time here on the Fantasy Draft Room.